Hello, hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Just Like You. I am your host, Alexis Christine, and today we are going to be talking about neural reprogramming. So I've touched on this before on the podcast, but I still keep getting so many questions on what it is, how to do it, how it works. I think there's a lot of words that people aren't really understanding as well, so I'm going to go through some definitions before I actually explain what neural reprogramming is. And that will be today's episode. So hopefully today will be a little more digestible than maybe how I've explained it in the past or some things that you've been seeing online. But of course, before we start, let's pull our collective card. Okay, so we had two cards come out today. The first one is called Initiation, and the elements associated are Argonite and the fire element. And the words are ignition, revelation, and radiation. So it's basically asking yourself, if you are spending too much time procrastinating or finding reasons to avoid something rather than succeed at it, which is actually, holy shit, so in line with today's episode about neural reprogramming. But you have to ask yourself, why are you putting these things off? Why are you delaying who you're meant to become, the goals that you're trying to reach? What is stopping you? So if we look at the element of fire, what does the flame symbolize? How do you turn a spark into a blaze that actually burns like a lit fire, like some fierce roaring fire? You have to take action. So the same goes with you. Until you start taking action and stop procrastinating, you're never going to reach your goals, or you're not going to get anywhere. You're just going to stay stagnant. And so to do this, you need to look at where your limiting beliefs are, where your fears are, what are the things that's really stopping you. And Argonite is the perfect crystal for that because it's technically classified as like a star cluster, but that means that it radiates energy and vibrations outward through all of the points of it. So like all of its like sharp edges, pointy parts, and it relieves stress and anger and emotional fatigue, and it gives you the gift of patience. So, it like really channels patience into you, which we all need when we're starting a new journey, which I am experiencing right now. But one word of advice, or I guess like a warning, when using this crystal, you have to be ready for it because everything that you're trying to suppress will come to the surface. It'll bring it all out. So when you're doing this, you have to be ready to work through whatever comes up and make sure that you're doing whatever you can to stay grounded. The affirmation for this is, I ignite flames within me to move forward towards my destiny and what I desire. Okay, and the second card is Intuition with aquamarine and water as the two elements. Oh my God, this card is just me, the water and the aquamarine. Yes, the words, fluidity, instinct, openness. So this card is reminding you that your intuition is always with you, but you have to learn how to listen to it and how to actually trust it, okay? So regardless of what situation you're in, with that, whatever is in your control or not, there's going to be a version of yourself, something in you that will give you some intuition about it. And you have to learn basically how to read it, where it is in your body. Some people get a gut feeling. Some people have like thoughts pop into their head. Like intuition shows up in so many different ways. So it's asking you really to tap into your intuition and learn how to utilize it and really trust it. And so a good tip for this with the water element is to remember to remain fluid, okay? Like water, just flow with it. Be in touch with your heart and how you feel, your emotional self. And remember to keep these in mind when you're trying to access your intuitive gifts. Don't overthink it. Don't try and find all the reasons why whatever your intuition is telling you is wrong or you're making it up. Like just flow with it. Be open. And then the aquamarine comes in because it allows you to connect to your higher self, leaving your fears and your doubts behind, okay? It's very gentle. It's very free-flowing. And there's vibrations within aquamarine that can activate your heart and your throat chakras, removing any blockages and allowing the energy within your system and all of your centers to actually flow and stay open. And so the affirmation for this is, I allow my intuitive knowledge to flow freely throughout my entire being. Okay, so now let's move into neural reprogramming, what it is, how to do it, how it works, all of the things. This is also known as rewiring your brain, rewiring your mind. There's a couple different words for it. So quickly, I just want to get into some definitions. You might hear me talk about what is called a neural pathway. And basically, that's exactly what it sounds like. It's a pathway that is connecting different receptors in your brain that triggers an action. So, for example, like if something hits you and you get hurt, there's a neural pathway there that's telling the brain like, oh, this just hit me. this means that this hurts. Like now I'm going to signal a reaction to like scream out or cry or flinch or whatever it is. So the neural pathway is just connecting different areas of the brain and creating reactions. So that was just a very like simple way. If you guys Google it, there's like a very intense scientific definition, but we're going to keep it simple today. And there's 3 different types of neurons. Well, 3 main types. One is the motor neuron, so that controls your muscles. There's a sensory neuron, and that's stimulated by our senses, like as it says in the name, sensory neuron. And then we have interneurons that connect the neurons together. The next definition is neuroplasticity. Okay, and this can also be called brain plasticity or neuroplasticity. So a couple different phrases there as well. But neuroplasticity, basically it can be defined as the ability of our nervous system to change its activity in response to an intrinsic or extrinsic, so internal or external stimuli, by reorganizing its structure, functions, and connections. So that one was basically, I feel like that was a little science-y. So if I were to dumb it down a little, basically it's our brain's ability by itself to recognize the different neural connections throughout its lifetime. So it allows our neurons or our nerve cells within the brain to compensate for things like injury and disease and adjust their response. Okay, that's key. So it allows us to adjust the response to new situations or to changes in the environment. And so when we're looking at neural reprogramming, that's what we're changing. We're changing the neural pathways, and the way that we're able to do that is neuroplasticity. The neuroplasticity allows our brain to be able to change these things. So if you want to think of like just the word elasticity, okay, so you take a rubber band, it's really stretchy, there's a lot of elasticity to it, and then you take a piece of rope, it's not really stretchy at all. So that's like another way to think about it. Your brain will have a certain level of neuroplasticity, so a certain ability to be able to rewrite things. And as we age, naturally this declines. And there's little things like what are they called? Like, those brain game apps, those are designed to increase your neuroplasticity because essentially it's like a muscle. Like if you don't use it and you don't continue to strengthen it, it'll decline faster. So hopefully those are the only words that you won't understand while I do this. And I want to start getting into what neural reprogramming actually is. And before I really get into like the deep part of it, I just want to talk about the function of our brain and what our brain is here to do for us. So our brain's key function is to keep us safe. That's what it wants to do. That's its job. And so this worked really well way back in the day. Like say we're in caveman era and we're hunting for our food and we get bitten by whatever animal we're trying to hunt, or, there's something that happens and we get injured, our brain is going to store that and think, okay, next time I do this, I need to avoid this specific action because doing this results in me getting hurt or causing me pain. So it basically analyzes a situation, realizes what it did, what the outcome was, and anything that causes you pain or some sort of negative reaction. So whether that's like you being upset, you being sad, you having like a negative emotional reaction or getting physically hurt, feeling embarrassed, whatever it is, it's going to put into itself, okay, this is not safe. I can't do this again. And so the next time you go to do that thing, you're going to have all of these feelings and thoughts inside of, oh no, I can't do this. So not only will it be the mental thoughts trying to stop you, but it'll be physical reactions as well. So if we take this into day-to-day life, I've talked about this before in the Q&A episode. Say you have a fear of public speaking because at some point in your life, you answered a question in class and it was wrong and people laughed at you, or you were singing and people said you had a shitty voice, or, like something like that where you were using your voice, you were the center of attention, and you felt embarrassed or sad or hurt or angry or whatever it was after. Or maybe you're even on stage doing something and you tripped. Like that's embarrassing, right? So your brain now has this in its memory of, okay, I can't do this action of public speaking or of going on stage because last time I did it, something bad happened and this is not safe for me to do. Which back in the caveman days, probably super, super useful. And still nowadays, like, a kid puts their hand on the fire stove or whatever, learns it's hot, you learn not to do it. Like your brain's remembering that action and then reaction. But it happens so often that little things, again, like public speaking, all of a sudden we don't feel like it's safe to do. And not only do we have the mental thoughts of, I can't do this, I'm not a good public speaker, it's going to be too embarrassing, all these things, we also get the physical reactions because our brain, again, is trying to stop us from doing this thing. So our stomach turns, we get nervous, maybe we feel really nauseous, maybe we start needing to use the toilet 24/7 right before we go on. Our palms are sweating. There's so much happening. And it's all because our brain is trying to keep us safe. So when we look at neural reprogramming, what we're essentially doing is rewriting that memory. So it's the neural pathways, okay, that take the information from that memory to a part of our brain that enacts the physical and the mental response to what we're about to do. So neural reprogramming essentially, I'll give like a proper definition, but essentially is rewiring, okay? So like overwriting, deleting and adding something new into that neural pathway to allow our brain to understand and feel like whatever we're about to do is in fact safe. So when our brain is in theta or alpha state, and those are the two brain states where we're kind of in like a hypnotic trance, they happen right before we go to bed when we're in a really, really relaxed state of mind, right after we wake up in the morning. And actually, when you're a kid, your brain is in this state permanently. And that's why it's so much easier for kids to learn languages and stuff when they're young, okay? This is when our subconscious mind is more accessible than in our day-to-day life. So we can actually access our subconscious when our brain is in theta or alpha state. And so this is where all of our old programming loops live. This is where all of the neural pathways live that, send all the messages, do all these things. It's all within our subconscious mind. We're not thinking or doing any of these things consciously. You can be standing there being like, I'm going to go on stage and speak, and there's nothing wrong with that. And you can still have anxiety in your chest. Your palms can still be sweating because it's all in your subconscious. Your brain's remembering something that happened down the line, and it's reacting in that way. So when our subconscious mind is open, when we're in theta or in alpha, it does not distinguish between what is reality and what is potentiality. So what's actually happening and what we think can happen. So if you remember back to the Q&A episode, I spoke about this. Say there's something happening, you haven't heard from someone for a few days or whatever it is, and you start to get anxious about it. They're not responding to your calls, they're not responding to your text messages. All of a sudden, you feel like something horrible has happened and you start to have a physical reaction to it. You're getting worked up, you're crying, you're freaking out, you're calling all your friends, you're frantic, you can't eat, like your stomach is just not hungry, you feel like you're going to throw up, all of these things. And nothing's actually happened. That person maybe just like had their phone die or something like that. It's because your brain doesn't know truth from what you're imagining. It doesn't know what's real and what's not. So you're having a real response. You're having all of these emotions come up and all of these physical triggers because the story that you're telling your brain, the story that you're making up, your brain doesn't realize is false. So when we're doing the neural reprogramming and we're in this theta alpha state and we're talking to our subconscious, we're actually able to tell our subconscious something different than what actually happened. So if you were a kid in class and you answered a question and it was wrong and all the kids laughed at you, you're able, through the meditation, through the hypnosis, because your brain is in that state, to go back and tell your brain, actually, no, this is what happened. This is the truth. And so we're showing our subconscious mind a new memory and a new way of being so that it actually believes that to be the truth versus what actually happened. And this creates a new synapsis, a new neural pathway basically in our brain over time. And as we continue doing this, as we continue believing this, so again, with repetition, this new neural pathway begins to override the old one. So the old one just kind of dwindles away. It's not really being used. Again, it's like a use it or lose it muscle. So the more that we focus on this new story we're telling ourselves and start to truly believe it's true, the old one will go away. And so we take this new way of being and walk through the past memories to heal and then reprogram what is there. And this continues to create the stronger neural pathways. So again, after we do this constantly, we're reinforcing it through repetition. It allows the new neural pathways to fire together and deepen, and it really just starts to become ingrained in our subconscious. And then all of a sudden, your fear of public speaking is going to be gone. You're not going to have the nervous sweats. You're not going to have all of the anxiety. You're not going to feel nauseous because your brain has relearned that actually, wait, this is safe for me to do. And so all of the old beliefs and all of the old thought patterns just disappear. and your brain is working on these new beliefs, the new neural pathways that we have created. And that's how we really can start to project ourselves from our ultimate authentic self, our true magnetic state. That's when we start actually reaching our goals, creating the life we want for ourselves, being able to manifest anything in because we truly believe that it's possible. And it just makes life so much more magical. So essentially, we are just rewriting the story within our brain. And so now let's get into how we actually do this. There's a few steps to it, okay? So you need to make sure that the memories that we're rewriting in our brain are the core memories that created this belief that we're trying to change. So that's why there's a little bit of work involved. I'm actually going to be launching a course teaching you guys how to do this. So if you're interested, stay tuned for that. Follow the Instagram and the TikTok because I'll be announcing it on there when it's actually ready to be released. But the first step that you really need to do, okay, is monitoring your thoughts. So you might have something that you can't do, like say it is the public speaking, like you're really just fucking scared of it. You don't know why. That's not enough for us to go off of. So you need to figure out what are the thoughts in your brain that come up when you have the fear of public speaking. Is it saying that you're not good enough? Is it saying that you don't have a strong voice? Is it saying that your opinions don't matter? Or are you scared of being wrong or being rejected? Okay, most of the time, it might not actually be the actual speaking itself. It could be the beliefs and the thoughts that we have behind it, because in that moment when you were in class and you answered that question and everyone laughed at you, that could have instilled the belief that your opinion doesn't matter or what you believe is wrong. So then you're scared of voicing your opinion and speaking in public. Or maybe your voice cracked when you answered, and so it's not public speaking you're scared of, but you're scared of being rejected again because everyone laughed at you when it happened. So this is very, very important to do. Pay attention to your thoughts. Write everything down that comes up. That's a negative self-talk. That's a limiting belief. That's an excuse as to why you can't do something, and mark them all down, okay? Like mark what it was you were thinking about when they came up. So was it public speaking? Was it learning how to fucking drive standard? Like whatever goal it is you're trying to reach, keep note of all of the thoughts that come up that are basically telling you you can't do this, or this is scary to do, or you're never going to be able to make it, all of those things. That's step one. Step two is to do some shadow work and some inner child work. So once you know where the thoughts are coming in and from what, you're able to dig deeper into your childhood and into things that happened to you throughout your life that you are repressing or that instilled these beliefs in you. So with the public speaking example, we're just going to go with it. We're just going to, build on that. If you were scared of public speaking and then you figured out you actually were just scared of being rejected, you might not know that the reason you're scared of being rejected is because of that one moment in elementary school when you answered the question. So that's when we then go into the child work or into the shadow work and uncover where the memory came from, where this core belief was instilled. It's like a whole process of trying to uncover it, because a lot of times when moments like that happen to us, our brain blocks them out because they're unpleasant. We don't want to remember it. So it actually takes some work and some digging to figure out where these core beliefs came from. If you, for example, had a situation in high school where you public spoke, you were already scared of public speaking, but you had to say a speech in front of the class, and that's something that you do remember, that like taking that memory and rewiring it isn't going to work, because that's not the memory where this belief was created, where it was first instilled in your brain. So even if you change that memory and like that memory is good to go now, you're still going to have that core belief in you because you haven't gone back to the source. And a lot of times, especially with me, I experience this too. It's really fucking hard to go deep into our subconscious and figure out where these blocks are. So that's where meditation and hypnosis comes in. There's certain meditations. So this is the core of the work that I do with my clients. So there's meditations that I'll take them through where I'm bringing them back and bringing up the original memory where it all started. There's certain prompts and things you can say during the meditation. And this is different to a neural reprogramming meditation. This meditation is basically opening up your subconscious and allowing your subconscious to show you where this fear or this limiting belief first stemmed from. Because if we're in our conscious mind trying to access it and our brain has repressed it, it's going to be really, really hard. It's going to take a lot of journaling, a lot of vulnerability, a lot of deep like reflection into yourself. And even then, sometimes you're still not going to be able to find it because your brain's like, no, bitch, you're not seeing this. So it's a lot of work. It's a lot of effort. And sometimes things that may not be super pleasant to us come up. But at the end of the day, you're going to be working through it, and we're going to be rewiring it, and we're going to be changing your fucking life. Like, your life is going to be so much better once you've worked through all of your limiting beliefs and all of these negative thought patterns. So once that's done, you've figured out the beliefs you need to change. We've uncovered where the blocks came from, what the situation was. I guide you, I'm just speaking now as if you're my client, but I'll take you through a neural reprogramming meditation that brings us down into that alpha state, that theta state. So our brain waves are on that level, our subconscious is open, and I'll guide you through a meditation that actually takes you through the act of reimagining that scenario in a more aligned, helpful, and healing way to you. And so that's how we neural reprogram. And it doesn't work if you just do it once. This is, like I've mentioned before, a repetitive task. So you have to continuously do it over and over again, anywhere from like 7 to 9 times to 30 times. Like, it really depends on your neuroplasticity and how well your brain does at being able to create the new neural pathways. And then not only that, but you actually have to believe that it's going to work. Because if you're sitting here doing something and the whole time you're like, this is bullshit, this is never going to work, that's the belief in your head, and our thoughts create our reality. So obviously then it's not going to work. So you have to truly believe what you're reprogramming into your mind. You have to truly believe that you're not going to be rejected if you public speak. You have to truly believe that public speaking is a safe thing to do and that it's something you want to be able to do. I really, really, really hope that this is making sense to all of you. And if it's not, please feel free to DM me on Instagram or shoot me an email or do whatever the fuck and ask more questions, because I'm more than happy to continue explaining it. I could literally talk about this stuff all day. Like, I find it so interesting and so empowering. And although the work can be really hard, I just find it so fun when you actually have that moment of, holy shit, I've rewired that. Like, this thought has changed in my brain. Like, it's just such a magical moment. And all of the things that can expand and unfold for you once all of those limiting beliefs and thoughts are gone and you're actually confident enough to follow through on your goals and actually take action to reach them is just the most magical, expansive, like soul aligning thing in the entire world. So I hope that you guys enjoyed the episode. I hope that you learned a lot from this one. It was pretty heavy with information. So if you need to listen to it a couple times, feel free, maybe even take some notes. I truly, truly appreciate all of the love and support that you guys have given me on this podcast and throughout season 3. Again, if you are enjoying it, please give us a review. Please give us a rating. Please share it with a friend. I'm just trying to help as many people as I can on their ascension and healing journey. And obviously sharing the podcast helps reach all those people. The light in me acknowledges the light in each and every one of you. I hope you have the most wonderful rest of your day, coming from someone just like you.